All right, everyone. Good to see you again. Today, we are going to start on our next project. And it's actually going to take 2 weeks to do this project. It's going to be really fun, and it's going to be a real game you can actually play. I know you guys have been wanting to make a real game. Today is the day. So, what we are going to do is we are going to make a game where we have an image, go around the screen, and collect coins. So we're going to start making it today and finish making it next week. But to start off, we need to think about how a computer might have you find where a person is on a screen. So if I, put something on there, in math, a lot of the time what we would use to decide where this is we would use coordinates. And coordinates might be like this.
What is coordinates?
Coordinates are just a way of saying where something is, either in the world or on a screen. So it might say, oh, this little dot is, a couple inches across this way and a couple inches down this way. And that way we know exactly where it is. And if it moved over this way, you just make a new line and change that coordinate, change where that line is, right? So we're going to do almost the exact same thing on the screen. We're going to use a coordinate grid that looks like this. It goes down and it goes across. And this one is called X, and this one is called Y. And if you guys have seen coordinates in math, you know the X always goes side to side just like this. This is plus X, and this is plus Y. This is minus Y, and minus X are up in this corner.
Why do we not have minus x and y?
Why do we not go into the negatives?
Yeah.
Well, the reason is we want to make this point is called 0, 0. So it's 0 distance across on the x side, and it's 0 distance down on the y side, right? And a lot of you will know that most of the time in math, we will have y going up and down like that. Most of the time, positive y goes up. But if we did that and 0, 0 was this corner, then every single point here would be negative. So instead, we do y is smaller at the top and bigger at the bottom. It's not that big of a deal, but it might trip you up. So just remember this on the whiteboard. If you forget, just leave this up on the whiteboard for the kids to refer to.
So it's like you flipped it over.
Yeah, it's like it was here, and then we flipped it like that. So yeah, and the unit of measurement we use in Inventor is called pixels. So there are a lot of pixels on the screen. Imagine this is our little screen. We have our little button down here. We have our 3 lines. We have our back arrow, right? And this is our screen. So we are going to fill up this screen, and we are going to use our new coordinate system we just learned to show you where everything goes. Ready to go to computers? All right, guys. So we just came over from the whiteboard. We have in the past just put our components directly on the screen. Do you guys remember that? You just plop a button down wherever, and it'll go to the top corner.
Yeah.
So this time, we're actually going to do something a little bit differently, because if we have a little leprechaun guy and a little coin he's trying to get, do we want the leprechaun to be able to run off into the buttons? No, that'd be ridiculous, right? So we're actually going to have 2 different parts. We're going to have a layout to organize our buttons and make them look like up, down, left, and right, and we're going to have a canvas where our image sprites, our images that move, are going to go. You might have heard sprites in Scratch or in other kinds of programming languages, and the only difference between an image and an image sprite is that an image sprite moves around. So which one do you guys want to do first, the layout or the canvas?
Canvas.
Okay, let's do the canvas. That's going to be under drawing and animation. Because when we have things move around, that's called animation, right?
Yeah.
So we have our canvas, and we are going to make our canvas fill the parent. Like we did last week, it wants to be as big as possible. So fill parent, and we are going to put how many image sprites on there? If we need a leprechaun and a coin. How many image sprites do we need?
2.
2, yeah. One for our leprechaun, one for our image sprite. This one is going to be our leprechaun, and to keep that in mind, we're going to have 2 things called image sprite 1 and image sprite 2. And that can get kind of confusing. So we can go to image sprite 1, go here and click rename. Let's call this leprechaun. I don't know if that's spelled right, but we're going to call it leprechaun. We're going to get a second one over here too, and we're going to rename it. We're going to call it coin. And the reason we do that is now, when we go into our blocks, instead of saying image sprite 1 move or image sprite 2 move, it'll say leprechaun move or coin move. And that makes a lot more sense to everyone. So that is our canvas. That is all set up now. What was the other thing that I just said we needed?
A layout.
A layout, yeah. So we're going to click on this layout thing, this layout component part. We're going to find something called a table arrangement. A table arrangement, if you've ever made a table in science, has rows and columns, right? And for this, we're going to have 4 buttons, but in a kind of tricky part, make sure you pay attention to this, we're going to have 3 rows and 3 columns. So 3 of each, and our width is going to be fill parent for that too. So now, we need an up, down, left, and right button, right? So, do you guys remember where the buttons are?
It's in the user interface.
In the user interface, correct, perfect. We're gonna have a button on this part that goes up, a button on this part that goes left, a button on this part that goes right. Oh man, actually I messed it up. This part that goes right, and a button on this part that goes down. And now you can see that even though it's kind of tricky, and even though you did need to have 3 by 3, this way when you put it in this diamond, it will actually look like up, down, left, and right. And we're going to do the same thing as we did before with renaming. We're going to rename button 1 up. Going to rename button 2 left. And if you put them in there in a different order, it's not going to be 1, 2, 3, or 4. Just make sure your up, left, right, and down buttons are named accordingly.
But it's not showing up on the button.
Right, good point. So, like we saw in the Magic 8 Ball, when we want to change the text of a button, that changes what the button looks like. When we rename, that changes it for the developers. When we are doing our code, it changes the name. If we want to change what it says, we would go into properties. So we're going to go to properties. We can go down to text. I'm on the right button right now. So I can change it to right.
Oh, there you are.
And then, yeah, so we can redo that too. So we'll press down for its name in our code. We'll do down for its name on the screen. We can change this one to left. And this one to, oops, we don't want to change that back again. Up. And it is kind of scooched over on the side. If you want to, this is optional. You can click on the screen, because it'll be fine if it's off to the side, but you can click on the screen and do align horizontal to center. Maybe that doesn't work. You might have to click on the table arrangement. Or maybe you can. I don't know. Maybe it's one vertical. I don't know. Never mind. So what we'll do now is you have our up, down, left, and right. Everything is named the way it should be. The only thing is we need to upload our pictures. So make the kids download their pictures. You can upload your files. I'm on the leprechaun right now, so I will choose my leprechaun picture that I have made. Okay. It'll show up. Ta-da! Maybe, eventually. There we go. And right now, it is giant. It is massive. So we don't want it to be automatic. We don't want it to be automatic because the automatic is very, very big. We don't want it to fill the parent because we don't want it to cover the whole screen. What we want to do is we want it to change the number of pixels. So for our main character, we're going to say right about 80 pixels in either direction. Our height and width should be about 80. And for all the students, they can change that however they want. If they want the person to be a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller. But I found that 80 works pretty well. And for our coin, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to upload our file, and we're going to choose about 50 pixels. So give me a second to do that. Go to our coin, press open, okay. Wait for it to upload. While it's uploading, you can choose 50 and 50.
Where's the coin?
It said it was uploading. Maybe it's not. We'll try it one more time. I might have distracted it with the height and width actually.
Oh.
There we go. Great. So now we have our coin and we have our leprechaun. And now we need to make our leprechaun move. We're going to worry about the coin and how the coin will work next week. But for today, we want our leprechaun to move around. So you guys should remember by now, what button should we click on to get to our code?
We should go to blocks.
We should go to blocks for our blocks code, exactly. So let's think about our when do's for this. What parts are we clicking in this game?
Oh, we're clicking on the button.
You're clicking on the buttons. So we're going to have a when click for every direction. When left click, when right click. Sorry, they're not consistent. When up click and when down click. Perfect. And when we click those, what moves around?
The leprechaun?
The leprechaun, yeah. So, let's see. If we scroll through, unfortunately there isn't a block that just says leprechaun go up or leprechaun go down. So, we have to think. We can look at the whiteboard for this too. When the leprechaun goes left, is that minus x plus x minus y or plus y?
It's minus y.
Minus y. When it goes left?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Oh, maybe not.
It's going to be minus x, right? So we're actually going to do a little bit of math for this. So you should have a minus block right here. So we're going to set our x to where we were before. So we need to get the old x to where our leprechaun was before, minus about 10. Right? So we want less, we can have that. And you would want to go through that again with the kids, but we can just duplicate. Set leprechaun y to leprechaun y minus 10. And we're going to do the same with the right and the left, but with the plus block. So duplicate. We'll save our leprechaun x and our 10. and trash this. If you need to put something in trash, just hover it over right there. Let's get a plus block. So left on X, plus 10. Duplicate that, and put in Y for down. If you want to go further down, you can refer to the whiteboard for this. If you want to go further down, it needs to be plus Y. Great. And that is session 3.